Technology Entrepreneur. This episode of 3 Stories is about how to delight customers and boost retention and referrals in the process. This is for you, the entrepreneur who is fired up to deliver great customer experience. You often find us at northstories.io talking about customer acquisition. Well, after all, without customers, who are we going to delight in the first place, right? Now, let's say that your business has successfully launched and you were able to acquire a good amount of customers and have a sense of what it takes to drive more conversions. You have a repeatable acquisition process. Let's talk about a certain type of conversion now, which is converting out of your existing customers. After acquiring customers, you want their number one, repeat business, and number two, referrals. How do we get there? Well, we need to fulfill your sales promises and eventually delight them. Stay alert! We will summarize the 5-minute tips so you can begin with a practical step. Okay, my name is Alan from northstories.io, and today we are discussing 3 hot stories about delighting your customers and in the process enjoying repeat purchases and referrals. The 3 stories are here, and let us start with story number 1, which is about optimizing for your next repeat purchase. Cheers to Gary Vaynerchuk for this hot new piece regarding tips for restaurant retention. And make no mistake, even if you're not in the restaurant business, this is equally relevant. They share tactical tips on how to make special offers for first, second, and third time visitors. Why? At least for the restaurant business, they suggest that 4-time visitors are 70% likely to come back to the business again. Now, let's look at the math. You may acquire a customer for example, $50. That may be even $100, $500, or maybe just $5, right? Regardless, you want to balance that with their average lifetime value. Now, why wouldn't you want to triple a customer's lifetime value? Do compare that with the effort required to acquire 3 times more customers. You already spent on creating a relationship, building upon it. Why don't you make revenue out of those existing people instead of investing more in a leaky funnel, spending more money? I suggest to always optimize for the next purchase. To take this down into an actionable level, your 5-minute tip that's very easy to execute is to list 6 promo ideas for your first-time customers. Say your first-time restaurant visitors or first month subscribers of your membership site. Well, sure, for example, you can work on margins, you can work on great product design, right? You can have high profit margins for one order. That's great. Those are all good things, but concurrently, you want to actively invite previous customers to go back again, not just kind of waiting for it to fall on your lap. A promo, on top of being a marketing tool for a recurring purchase, interestingly inspires your customers' delight. You give them exclusivity, you give them personalization, and they get a sense of you understanding and giving what they need. For example, you sold them a guide on how to use an analytics tool. Perhaps later, You can give them a discount for the more advanced version, which you might be selling for a far higher cost for people who have never bought from you previously. Story number 2: 10 examples of how big brands are using chatbots to delight customers. Cheers to Larry Kim for collecting case studies from Starbucks, Lyft, and others. I love conversational interfaces. Speaking is our natural way of talking to each other. Thanks to the current state of tech, we can easily speak to more people using chatbots on Facebook Messenger or Slack. Or we can integrate with Siri, Alexa, or other similar platforms and be added capabilities. Now, before rushing towards building an Alexa capability or a chatbot, let's reduce this into something simple, actionable, and is a prerequisite. Before you scale, this is all about having great scripts and practicing great copywriting. If you don't already have proven templates that you feel so strongly about, we're not even in the position to scale anything at all. So, to get this into an actionable mode, your 5-minute tip is to look for a recurring customer inquiry. What you want to do is to look for number 1, maybe a common confusion with the app, a usability issue. Of course, you want to fix that. At the same time, fixing it is probably a conversational interface kind of question. Number 2, a usual objection when it comes to your sales process, or a general question about your industry. Maybe this is for your content marketing purposes, or this is just not specific to your product. It's related to every player in your market. You can find these patterns through your email archives, social media support, or other communications with leads and customers. What you want to do is to write a template for the best version of your response for this recurring question. As a result, you will get to avoid reinventing the wheel, and you will have one standard way of answering that recurring query. The solution for this is to come up with FAQs. If you don't already have one, most of you would already have one, but just keep on developing them, finding recurring queries. And for example, before jumping into chatbots, use apps like Text Expander so you can create shortcuts for email templates and other communications. No matter how simple or sophisticated, this is all about having the right stories and effective copywriting. Story number 3: buffers, voice, and tone guide. Thank you, Buffer and MailChimp, for these guides on setting the brand voice. This serves as a list of guidelines for creating content when we're communicating with our clients, whether it's customer support or pre-sales. Earlier, we talked about the power of templates. Now, this is about how to write great templates. Buffer and MailChimp created guidelines on writing copy for their apps, knowledge base, emails, blogs, and other types of content. I've been using these guides before I write emails to customers. They've been very useful. It helps me write instructions, deal with issues, and have a consistent voice. Why? We're not robots. As people, we may have days when we are not as inspired as we would like to be, right? Now, I don't want my tone to be affected by my rainy days or maybe challenges in my personal life or maybe a specific relationship with a certain client. We don't want ups and downs. We want a standardized service. Imagine irate comments on a difficult day, right? Imagine not the easiest things happening to you, and then you will get quite difficult comments from your leads or your customers. Having guidelines for politeness and brand consistency help me and my team create the best writing decisions every day, regardless of the situation. Your 5-minute tip is to read Buffer's Tone Guide. The URL is buffer.com/tone-guide, or you can Google it. Now, just go over there and read through the tips, see how they deal with formality, apologies, and delivering instructions. These guidelines allow you to stay consistent with the brand, delighting your customers regardless of how great or challenging the day might be. At first, you can simply borrow Buffer style, but later on, I invite you to come up with guidelines that best suit your brand. There you have it. Your 5-minute tips are: number 1, list 6 promo ideas for your first time buyers. Encourage them to buy the second time around. Number 2, you want to look for a recurring customer inquiry and populate your FAQs, your scripts, and your templates. Number 3, get inspired by Buffer's Tone Guide when coming up with your templates by going to their buffer.com/tone-guide. Choose one tip that you will practice today and pledge your commitment. Tweet it to me at Alan Kaeg. This has been Alan from NorthStories.io, and keep up over here.